Hi, my name is Anissa. I run animecards.org. This video is basically a game called What Card Is This? Because for sure I don't know half the cards I see on animecards.org. Maybe you don't either. Let's figure it out together. This is today's card. If you want to skip the research part and just want to know the answer, skip to the end of the video where I will re-summarize everything that I just found out. Let's get started. Hi, welcome back. We are here today with another Sailor Moon card. This kind of card is actually something I've seen a lot of fakes of, so we want to make sure that we are checking very carefully on what all the things are. So first, fake check. This is a regular card, so there is no prism pattern to check. It does have a little prismy thingy in the corner, but that doesn't mean that this is a prism card itself. This is a regular card. That's just what the set looks like. The printing looks very clear. The card is very, very clear, very perfect, very straight. So I think that looks good as far as an initial fit check. We do want to make sure that the front and the back are matching and correct. Especially I've seen a lot of this kind of back on fake cards. I'm not really sure why, but it's quite common. So we want to make sure that this belongs to this. I don't think there would be any problems, but we want to just check and make sure that everyone has the same information. All right, so let's try to figure this one out. First off, the size of it, standard trading card size, not too big or giant. The series is Sailor Moon. In this case, it says Sailor Moon on the front and English letters on the bottom. Although in this case, I think that might just be the character. It also says it in Japanese on the back. It says Sailor Moon R, so we know it's the second season. It is, we don't know what the set is, but we do know that it was made by Bandai. Made in Japan in 1994. Now, I do want to show you the big differences here. The previous card that we did is also made by Bandai in 1994. Now, you can see that the backs are very different. The design of the backs is very different. The numbering, this one was 159. This one is only 87, right? And you can see that the borders are very different in the front. This one has a very distinctive silhouette figure in the corner. This one doesn't have that, but it has a crescent moon in the corner, very shiny. Has a little crest on the corner here. It has this little ribbon covering the title of the card. This one didn't have any kind of ribbon on the title of the card. It's just very different looking cards. I would be very surprised if they were part of the same set or the same series. All right, let's start researching this card. To begin with, we'll start with the Sailor Moon page on animecards.org, and we're going to look at one of the links. We'll start with mini cards. And the reason why we go to a link instead of looking at the information on the Sailor Moon page itself is I don't think it is easy to figure out what a set is just by looking at the information that we have on there. We try our best, but for example, it's not divided by publisher. Doesn't list the numbers of the cards in the beginnings. It's just a lot easier to go to one of these links. So let's start with mini cards. And so we know this card is Bandai. We know it's Sailor Moon R and that it is number 87. Let's go there. Now, the most likely suspect is either the Cardass set or the Graffiti set. So the last card that we had was a Cardass set. It could be a Graffiti set. Let's start with the Cardass set and see. Right, so we're looking for the Cardass set to check. Now we know it is Sailor Moon R, so that starts with part 3, and that the number is 87, which is within the range for part 3, because part 3, Cardass goes from 71 to 112. So let's take a look at part 3. All right, so this is part 3, and we can double check and scroll down to number 87. So let's compare against the card that we have. You can see that it is a completely different card. Not even Usagi. It's not Tuxedo Mask. It must be Chiba Mamoru or Darien in the English version. So we know that it is not a Cardass Part 3 set. So that was a bust. Let's try the graffiti set. And here they have great information about it. You can see part 1, part 2, part up to part 7, and the numbers range from 1 to 300, which is also a pretty big set. Note that there is no Sailor Moon set. It starts from the second season and goes on to the third season. So the first and last season are not represented in the graffiti section. So let's check. So we're looking for Sailor Moon R and 87, which would seem to be in the range for part 3 here. Scans. And here is 87, and we can see it looks just like the card that we have. So now we know that it is for sure graffiti part 3, number 87, regular card. Now we want to check the back scan to see. And as usual, we're going to Google this one. So Sailor Moon Graffiti 387. Here's a card on eBay. Oh, there's Surugaya. Surugaya is it's a Japanese toy store. Oh, and they have the back scan as well. So you can see that it has graffiti part 3, number 87. Now, I do want to mention that this actually has some wrong information. I think they were just putting it in for keywords. It does say Cardass on here. Let's see, it says Cardass here. This is the machine translation version. It is not a Cardass card as we just found. It is a graffiti part 3, number 87, and we can see that this matches. Now you want to look at it very carefully to make sure that the fine details match. In this case, there were many cards, I think, with the same kind of pattern. So you want to look and make sure that these Japanese words in the text boxes match as well to the card that you have. And if you can't read Japanese, I would suggest looking at patterns and images, numbers, and things like that. For example, here it says it has a 1 inside a black circle. This is rule number 1. I think you could play a game with this card, someone to say. Maybe. I have never heard of anyone actually playing the game, but I think they did design it so that you could play a game. Alright, so in conclusion, this card is Sailor Moon Graffiti Part 3, number 87, a normal card made by Bandai in 1994. Happy collecting!